Cat? Nope, it's a child! Rewrite of Cat Child? By Anime Hair Colors on AO3. Read by Lily6645. This fic includes graphic depictions of violence, trauma, child and animal abuse. That is your warning. Summary. In this world, Izuku was born a cat. He was a strange cat with a quirk that made his life very difficult. Can a parent in the form of Aizawa help him? I guess we'll find out after a brief stunt as a vigilante to get his attention. Written when I was 17 and disconnected after the events of Season 1. Chapter 1. Deku. It started when a black kitten being born to a loving mama cat. The mother was a beautiful tuxedo cat with bright emerald eyes. The mother cat's name was Midori and belonged to a moderately rich family. Midori had birthed 3 beautiful kittens, a dark ginger, a tuxedo, and one that was pure black, and the only one with his mother's green eyes. The father of the kittens had probably been astray, so it was just them. The kittens, the large ginger Tom, Meow, named by the youngest child, the blue-eyed tuxedo female, named Sky, and lastly, the runt of the litter. The family hadn't let the children name him at first. He was so small. They wanted to soften the blow, since it was unlikely that he would survive the night. Then he did, but the family still wouldn't let the children name him, saying it was unlikely for the cat to survive even a few more days. He was still so small after all. Somehow the kitten survived those first few days, then weeks. When the black kitten had lived 2 weeks and was as healthy as could be, the children were allowed to name him. It was the middle child's turn, as his siblings got to name the other 2, and the parents had named Midori. The boy with black hair and red eyes stared at the little kitten. The vet, his parents, and even his siblings had all been so sure he wouldn't survive. "What are you thinking, E?" The more Ijiro looked at this little kitten, the more he felt proud of the tiny scrap of fur, and even a bit inspired by him. He made it against all odds. "I want to name him Deku," Ijiro told his parents. That was months ago. Now the green cat, his black fur had changed to green over the first few weeks of kittenhood, hid in a box by some trash cans. Almost every day at this exact time, a human he knew simply as the man of black fur sat food out on his porch. Deku didn't particularly like stealing, not because of some sort of morality towards humans. They had more than enough, but simply because humans were very territorial and liked to hurt him if he took their food. This one, though, did not. At first Deku thought that he was being sneaky. He took the food on the porch when the man had left. The next day, there was more. He figured the human must have been a bit stupid and just made the same mistake twice. But then it happened again and again. This time he was gonna figure out what was going on. When the man set out the food, he darted out of his hiding spot before the man had left. though he did wait until the man was a decent distance away from the food before going after it. This was how he was going to determine the motives of this strange human. Sure, it was reckless, given that every human he'd ever met had either abandoned or hurt him. But, well, curiosity killed the cat. Or, well, it could. He hoped it didn't. He took a few bites with the man standing there, then looked up, licking his lips. The man was smiling slightly, but he wasn't kicking him, throwing bottles, or trying to stab him yet. Probably the second best human he'd ever met. He took a few more bites, staring at the human, who wasn't even moving. As Deku ate his food, weird, he kept eating, eyes focused on the black-haired man. The man slowly started moving, and Deku tensed. He wasn't ready to give up his food yet, though, and the man simply sat down. Deku took a few more bites. Nothing happened, so he kept eating. After all, he could probably beat the man in a fight with his quirk. Maybe. He actually didn't know what the man's quirk was. Still, he finished the can. He licked his lips. As soon as the man made a move to touch him, he ran off. Best not to push his luck. Aizawa sighed. Well, that had been progress at least. The tiny green kitten he'd been feeding the past few days was extremely skittish. He worried about possible past mistreatment or abuse. But perhaps it just came from living on the streets. Regardless, this was progress, even if the kitten hadn't let Aizawa touch him yet. Of course, his day was ruined by his phone ringing, because Sukukachi called him, probably about some new case. He sighed, but picked up the phone.
All right, what do you need my help with now? There's a new vigilante hanging around. We think they have a cat mutation quirk.
Straight to the point. Good.
If it's a mutation quirk, why are you putting me on the case? We have reason to believe that they are a kid. We hate the idea of potentially ruining their future because of a couple vigilante stuff. So it's better for someone not in the spotlight to handle it. I don't need to babysit some delinquent kid. It's their own fault if they ruin their future.
Aizawa didn't really mean that, but still.
Come on, Eraser. I know you don't want a child arrested for 2 acts of vigilantism any more than I do. If it's just 2 times, how do you know they're gonna keep going? We don't, but considering they already have a vigilante name, we think it's likely they plan to continue. Fine. What info can you give me? Come to the station. I'll give you the file. After just 2 stunts, I doubt it's big enough to require that. Just tell me. I'm about to go on patrol anyways. Fine. He goes by the name Deku. He has green hair, green eyes, and green clothes. He reportedly has ears and a tail. A seemingly standard cat mutation, but there have been some reports of him transforming. Witnesses estimate he is 10 to 12 years old. Seems like a lot of info. How exactly have you not caught this kid yet? Because there isn't a single person with that description in Japan. What? Okay, are you sure the entire description is accurate? Well, none of the Witnesses lied during questioning, so it's unlikely, but that's why I'm asking you to find out. Got it. I'll keep an eye out. Any particular area I should watch? Both times he intervened were in your usual area, so there's probably no need to go out of your way. At least, till we know more. Got it, Aizawa said, then hung up. That is the end of Chapter 1. On to the next chapter. Chapter 2. Shinso and Aizawa. Summary. Shinso got a crush. Aizawa got a problem child. Shinso normally didn't do hero crushes. He knew a lot of people had them, but he never had. I mean, his favorite hero was Eraserhead, who was like 40 and looked like a homeless person. So no, he didn't fantasize about being rescued like some damsel in distress. Well, until he was rescued like some damsel in distress. Shinso was being beaten up by his usual bullies after school in an empty alleyway. They spat their usual venomous insults and added fresh bruises over the ones that hadn't yet faded from his skin. A part of him wished someone would stop them, though nobody ever did. "What's going on here?" said a young male-sounding voice. "Great. Another person to gang up on me," was Shinso's immediate thought. "We're just showing this villain his place," one of his tormentors told the newcomer. "Oh, what did he do?" "He used his quirk on us." "That's not true," he thought, not daring to speak. Shinso let out a whimper. "What crime did he commit?" "Didn't you hear us? Illegal quirk use." "You know, I've been reading up on laws, and illegal quirk use is not a crime that qualifies someone as a villain, unless you commit destruction of property, theft, assault, or murder, can you label as a villain. Furthermore, humans younger than 18 can't actually be imprisoned for improper quirk use, or even punished legally, due to subsection E of the law regarding illegal quirk use, because children can't be expected to control their powers. Also, it's illegal to physically hurt someone unless it's in self-defense, and it is self-defense. He'd kill us otherwise. It still counts as assault because by the time he was already sufficiently subdued, instead of restraining him and contacting the authorities, which would still make you a vigilante since I know he didn't attack first, I know the whole thing. But you wouldn't even be that. This is considered assault and illegal quirk use from you. So either you leave the human alone or I hurt you the way you hurt him. How do you know he didn't brainwash you? Did this bully sound scared? Shinso still hadn't seen his apparent savior. They would convince him that Shinso was the bad guy. Eventually, he was sure. Still, he doubted the boy was all that intimidating. He was right. The boy was in all green and had cat ears. Oh, Kami, he was cute. But this was not the time for a gay panic. So he just looked at the ground again and hoped the boy wouldn't be convinced to beat him up further. "And how would he do that? He's never met me before," the boy said. "That's his quirk,"
another tormentor said. Here we go, Shinso thought. Hopefully they didn't, claw him or something. Cool! Still didn't, though, since he's never spoken to me or touched me, or if all his quirk requires was sight, he would have obviously brainwashed you so you would stop beating him. So you should go now before I contact the police or beat you up myself. Accidental illegal quirk use would not go on anyone's record, particularly a minor's, but assault definitely would. So, scram! The last word came out like a hiss, but was understandable enough. They left, and the boy approached Shinso. Are you all right? The strong, cute cat boy asked.
Yeah, Shinso said, forcing the words out of his dry mouth. He would completely deny it if anyone asked, but he knew he was probably blushing like a schoolgirl. The boy helped him up.
I'm sorry, I don't have any medical on me, but I could walk you home if you want.
Shinso nodded dumbly, not trusting himself to speak. He was so out of it, he never asked for the cute boy's number. He let out another lovesick sigh into his pillow. He had tried to find the boy online, but none of his searches had yielded any results. Until he finally found a vigilante, of all things, matching the boy's description. Their vigilante name was Deku, and Hitoshi had apparently been his second rescue. So yeah, he had a hero crush now. I mean, can you blame him? The boy was so cool, looked about his age, and had cat ears. Shinso had to resist the urge to squeal like a schoolgirl into his pillow, and if he had some unofficial merch of the boy customized, nobody had to know. Eraserhead didn't see a sign of this Deku person until he was on patrol early in the evening when he found a boy in green talking to a terrified woman. She stood and walked away, leaving Deku to talk to him. He didn't erase the boy's quirk yet. If it was just a cat mutation, that wouldn't do anything. If it wasn't, Eraser wanted to keep that trick up his sleeve. Deku, Eraserhead said simply.
You heard of me, black-haired guy?
Black-haired guy? My name's Eraserhead, brat. I'm a pro hero, he told the boy.
Ah, cool. Hey, guess I'll go now.
The brat said, then ran. Aizawa tried to activate his quirk, but lost sight of the boy immediately. If only he had looked a bit lower and had seen the now quirkless Deku. Aizawa sighed and went home. When he got there, green eyes stared at him from the bushes. It was the cat, staring at him curiously. He smiled slightly. Looks like you have competition for number one problem child, he said to it. Unfortunately, I can't just give the boy food to prove I mean no harm. The cat crawled out slightly from the bushes. Not much, but enough that Aizawa could make out its fluffy head, which the kitten tilted, almost questioningly. Yeah, Kit. That's right. I don't want to hurt you, Aizawa said, slowly crouching down and reaching out his hand, not touching the cat, but
inviting it to come to him. The kitten went back into the bushes, far enough that Aizawa could only see his eyes. Aizawa sighed, standing. He took one last glance at the bushes, and the cat blinked at him. Aizawa smirked slightly at that.
You know what? I'll take it,
he said to the cat before going inside. That is the end of Chapter 2 of Cat, Nope, It's a Child! Rewrite of Cat Child? By Anime Hair Colors on AO3. If you like this, please go support the original author, link in the description below. Hope you have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye, kittens!